Good morning. Hello. Um, so quickly, gonna just share with you what I'm gonna do. What we're doing this morning is a little chat. I have a couple of things to share, and then we'll do a quick reading from the 24-hour day book, and then we'll have a meditation, a short meditation. So I've done that for the last couple of days, and people seem to like the meditation. I like it, and that's important. And so just a buddy called me this morning, and he'd watched one of my videos on YouTube. I actually found it in LinkedIn. I post on LinkedIn as well. And he said, "Wow, David, we've known each other for 25 years, and we did some time with Paul Lowe in the 90s. No, was it in the 90s? Yeah, maybe the late 90s, early 2000s. And so we've been on the path, if you will. If there was the path that's no path. and it's funny because he said, "Wow, David, you've come a long way." And what it brought to mind, I thought, well, there's nowhere to go. I understand the language, because we do talk in a way that presupposes there's somewhere to go. We many of us call ourselves seekers, so that language says there's something to look for, or we've said we're on the path. I just said which kind of misinforms that there's some that there's a path. There's a which takes us somewhere, and coming a long way is the same thing. It's the language is difficult because the thing that we're looking for, the awareness that we're looking for, the consciousness that we're looking for, is deep down inside of us. It's not. There's nowhere to go to find it. Bill Wilson said that in the last analysis, it's deep down inside of every man, woman, and child. And all the great teachers have said, be here now. It's here now. Presence, brings us to this. And now that doesn't mean that there isn't some work to do for some of us, because some of us have been really caught in the story, and we're the attachment to the story, not the story itself, but the attachment to the story keeps us from being here now. So let's say that you have a story about, I don't know, an abuse story, and it becomes part of your identity, and it's who you think you are. I am this fella who was, sexually abused when I was 8 years old, and we carry it, and it becomes part of our identity, and so that is part of the work, if you will, to surrender that, to let that go, to know that it isn't who we are. It's the persona. And that whatever the story is, going bankrupt, or even the story of the alcoholic, many people say to me, well, in those meetings, how come you say my name is so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic? It's not to hold on to not to be attached to the identity. It's not about being attached to the identity. Hey, I'm an alcoholic. Don't you tell me I'm not an alcoholic. It's not that kind of it's more to create awareness, because the mind, especially around this subject, has a tendency to say, well, I have, I'm okay. I haven't had a drink in 6 years. I think I should be able to celebrate. And that happens, So the reminder isn't to identify with as such. So anyway, there isn't anywhere to go. That's my message. The place to go is now. And how, so some self observation is important, to self-examination is important. I think it was Socrates who said, know thyself. And the self, there's the two different selves that we're talking about. There's the self that we have created in our persona. We were born with no identity, no attachment. We were just consciousness. And then we began to adapt or adopt an identity, and we became attached to it. We became attached to our body. We thought, I am my body. Well, we're actually not. The body is an innocent, has no opinion. It is a vehicle, and it's a beautiful vehicle, and we can have a lot of fun with it, and it can do lots of cool things, but it isn't us. It isn't who we are. The self that we're looking to identify with is deep down inside of us, and even that isn't really true, because it is more like there is no separation, but that's maybe a bit of a leap. So let's just look in the beginning, deep down inside, and we do that, through prayer. Sometimes prayer brings us into the moment. We expand in prayer. We do it with I can do it, have done it, and share with people for a long time, that when fear comes up, use fear to bring you into the moment, right? Use fear to say, okay, there's fear has come, and we come into the moment. We can come into the moment with prayer when fear comes, or we can, so you can use guilt and shame, and you can use all of those kind of what we'll call negative emotions, with the I got a buddy in the room with me. And um, and we can but so being present in the body, we can use the breath to bring us into the moment. We can use like I said, prayer and meditation. So we're going to meditate in a minute, things that bring us into now, and just watch where we're attached. Like even there's like an election coming up, and all people are attached to the outcome, and there's a lot of things right now to opportunities to be attached to ideas, and so just surrender. The more of us who are in that place of awakening, of surrender, of oneness, the higher we lift everybody. You have this idea, and sometimes we're attached to this idea that we want to make a difference, or we want to save the planet. It starts with us, in our consciousness, not just in whether we recycle or not. I think recycling's great, and how we eat is great, and all of those things. But where we are in our consciousness is the possibility of lifting the whole planet. According to David Hawkins, wrote Power versus Force, and he wrote he built a scale, and on that scale, it was just a concept, but he was able to measure vibration using kinesiology or muscle testing, and it was beautiful. And the scale at the top of the scale was Christ consciousness at 1,000, and then unconditional love was in the middle, about 540. So if we're living in a higher state of vibration in the 500 or 600s, then we can we do have the possibility to lift others out of the lower vibrations of guilt and shame and fear. So we have that possibility, and that's what happens actually. By the way, Hawkins measured a lot of different spiritual teachings, in the 12 steps and Tibetan Buddhism were the two spiritual teachings on the planet that vibrated the highest. at unconditional love. And so when people go to a meeting, they're in that vibration, and they go, wow, I don't know what happened, but I just feel so good. Well, they were in the vibration of unconditional love, and people want to be around that. They want to be around where they're not judged, where they're loved, and so if you want to make a difference on the planet, do this work, and it's not really work. Just practice being present and letting go of attachment. That's it. Okay, we're going to read. How you doing? All right, oh my gosh, it's November 1st. Isn't that great? I finally went out and bought some readers. They're 125s. I see I have a little bit of pride around that, my eyes still read pretty good at my age. And I'm like, it's kind of bull. Hey, Cammie, how are you, love? Nice to see you. We just got to the reading, but I talked about you in the talk, so you have to go back and listen. Hey, Dwayne. Oh, here we go. November 1st, thought for the day. I have hope. I have hope. Not everything that he says do I agree with these days, but I have hope. The trouble with hope is that hope is of the future. Hope takes us out of the moment. And at one level, it's needed. The guy's just sobering up, or, was at a place of almost killing himself. Lots of suicides these days, and and so maybe in that moment, hope is important. A person walks into their first 12-step meeting, and they recognize that people are just like them, are happy and laughing and having amazing times together. Last night, I think 8 of us went out for dinner after the meeting. We couldn't all sit together, but we all went out, and there was quite a bit of laughter, and it's beautiful. And that's hope for the new guy, isn't it? Yeah, it's like, wow, I can have this. So in that context, yes, but in the general sense, hope takes us out of the moment, The magic thing that I had lost or misplaced. Okay, I have hope, and that magic thing that I had lost or misplaced. The future looks dark no more. So he is talking about time. I did not even look at it, except when necessary to make plans. Oh, I do not even look at it, except when necessary to make plans. I try to let the future take care of itself. Well, we just do let the future take care of itself. There is no future. The future will be made up of todays, and todays stretching out as short as now and as long as eternity. As short as now, as long as eternity. Hope is justified by many right nows. So he is getting into the now. Great. Hope is justified by many right nows, by the righteousness of the present, by the rightness of the present. Nothing can happen to me that God does not will for me. I can hope for the best. As long as I have that, I have what I have is good. As long as I have what I have, and it is good, have I hope. This is I'm just reading from the 24-Hour Day book. It was written in 1954. So, the language is a little good, but I like what he just wrote. That was a great little paragraph. He started out about talking with the future, but he really says that, if we're living in the now, we can be guaranteed amazing nows in the future. If we live to the now of the future, but, many right nows make an amazing right then. Be here now. Meditation for the day. Faith is the messenger that bears your prayers to God. Nice. Faith is the messenger that bears your prayers to God. I like that. I talk a lot about prayer. I think prayer is very powerful, and I don't know that it's essential to have faith for our prayers to be acknowledged, and the word's not really heard, because there is, I don't what we're doing is putting this out into the ethers, into the now, into consciousness, and so the faith, though, is that consciousness has got our back. God has got our back. Prayer can be like incense, rising even higher and higher. Well, I have incense burning today. The prayer of faith is the prayer of trust that feels the presence of God, which it rises to meet. It can be sure of some response from God, from the moment, from now, from consciousness. We can say a prayer of thanks to God every day for His grace, which has kept us on the right way and allowed us to start living the good life. So we should pray to God with faith and trust and gratitude. Amen. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may feel sure of some response to my prayers. That's great, isn't it? I pray that I may be content with whatever form that response takes. Be here now. So the fact is that as we lift up in vibration, as we move into the realms of love and acceptance, gratitude, that the concerns and fears and that we live with in the lower vibrations just disappear. We can't deal with fear and fear's level. We move up, if you will, in vibrationally. We become present. In presence, fear cannot stay. Period. Full stop. Be here now, and fear disappears. There's nothing in the moment to entertain fear. There's nothing for fear to attach to in the moment. Fear is always about the future or the past. So that's it. Be here now. Nowhere to go. No path. We do change, yes. It does seem like we've come a long way, and yet the more we see ourselves, or the more we become conscious of who we are, the more we realize that we've always been this. There was no path to it. Okay, we're going to meditate for a few minutes, and we've been doing this the last couple of days, and I've really enjoyed it. So hopefully you enjoy it as well. Good to sit up, with a straight back, and if you can, find a place to sit where you're comfortable, but where your back is supported, and you can, bring air into your lungs unimpeded, and yeah, we're going to take a trip, and yeah, we're not going to leave the farm, but we're going to take a trip. Okay, it's like the old days, but it's different. Watch. So close your eyes. Just like I said, we're just going to do this for about 10 minutes and see if you can find a comfortable space. Just be comfortable. Be here. If your feet are on the floor, feel them. Just bring your attention to your feet. Bring your attention into your body. Use the breath. If you stop at the bottom of the out-breath, just be there. Stop at the top of the in-breath. Just be there. Breath brings us into the moment. And after 3 or 4 of these breaths, you can just feel your body, the vehicle you travel in, the thing that you call yourself, that's not yourself. You can feel it relax. You can feel it just settle down. The body's holding all the time, holding energy, holding sometimes trauma, sometimes memories of the past. Just let it go. Let the body settle, relax. Back to the breath. Notice when your attention is brought to your breath, thoughts disappear. As we sit here for the next few minutes, thoughts will come up. And just leave them. Leave all ideas of yourself outside of the moment. Leave any concerns of the future outside of the moment. Leave anything that comes up. Just either let it go or don't pick it up. Just say, okay, here I am. I am this. I am now. I am consciousness. I am presence. If there's any sounds, just include them. Just let them be. We could do this on a busy bus stop. We can actually do this anywhere. If you start to drift off into sleep, bring yourself back. Sometimes ego will resist this and put you to sleep. Just come back, be here consciously for these few minutes. Sometimes the body will disappear, will expand into the moment. Truly one with now. Just gently come back. Just come into this space. Back into your body. You may have to wiggle your fingers a little. Just yeah. Wow. Thank you. So a little time like this each day has the possibility to help create more awareness of the moment. And as we create that awareness of the moment through meditation, we can practice that in all moments. So meditation will bring us into the now. Prayer brings us into the now. The breath can bring us into the now. Gratitude can bring us into the now. And as you do this, really see that we've always been here. And all of the so-called turmoil or stress is not in this moment. It's always in the past or in the future. Or about the past and the future, because we're making up stories. So there's no stories in the moment. Be here now. Freedom, true freedom is in this moment. It doesn't come from possessions. It doesn't come from relationships. Although those things are nice, they're just, kind of aside of what's real. All things pass. All relationships pass. But this space of now has always been here. It will always be here. Okay, you guys, love you lots. I put this up on YouTube, and love it if you go to the channel and maybe subscribe. It's kind of my hobby this year is to build that YouTube channel, and share if you like. And if you go to YouTube, make comments. We'll chat there. And I guess the other thing is that I've been getting more and more calls. People have been calling, and I like, to be, there for you. And if you want to call or chat or come over or spend time together, I'm available for that. It's a kind of an interesting window in time that allows for that to happen. So come, call me, and let's spend some time. Okay, love you guys. Love is in the now. Love is also a kind of a funny word, because we think of it as something that we get or something sometimes that we give, but it isn't. It is something that we are. You are, and so I guess saying that I love you is like saying we are one.